Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain's still light. Callie's locked in, Techie's tagged. We're logging in with Callie and Techie. Callie bringing culture. Techie talks Techie. Stories, culture, updates too. It's logging in, brought to you. System ready, slightly unstable. You're logging in for a vault, boredom not found. You're logging in, best show
Okay, we're logging in. We're ready.
Yeah. Here we are.
Wait,
I'm logged in.
wait. You're not Luna.
No, I'm not Luna. I'm Callie.
Right. wait, what happened? Usually we hear you in the water cooler.
I graduated. I got another job. I got a promotion. I'm looking for the money. You know, we always make those moves. They say they want to promote you on these jobs, but it's like, where's the money? Okay, I want that to follow suit. But let's go ahead and get to what we're trying to get to, the reason why we're here, and we can discuss all the other stuff in the background.
No, I love it. All right, fine. Let's go through the topics then. So we're going to start off with Don Lemon. Now, he did a live stream.
Don Lemon.
Yeah, he did a live stream of a church that was being interrupted, and then later he ended up getting arrested. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is in the past we've talked about some of these other influencers who are doing journalism even though they're not part of a journalistic outlet. And this is probably one of the few times where we're seeing an influencer that's doing whatever they're doing online and they're getting arrested for essentially being blamed as being part of the interruption and not a journalist as is. So that's where I'm going to start it off for now.
Okay, well, I mean, let's just look at Don Lemon. Okay, this whole aspect with him. Okay, let's look at sort of what happened. Okay, so in regards to his arrest, I think this is even bigger than Don Lemon. Okay, because first of all, there were two federal courts. Okay, they already looked at the government's as evidence. They already said no. Okay, but according to Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, of course, he got arrested anyway. Okay, so traditionally, though, journalists, they have a little bit of breathing room, to do their job. If a reporter is covering a protest or they're filming like a tense situation, prosecutors, they usually, okay, let's say this, because prosecutors, right, they need state's evidence, okay, for crimes and things that they are going to court for and trying to prove a case in regards to. So prosecutors usually understand that if you start charging journalists and putting them in jail, it's just going to scare other journalists away, that's covering similar stories. And, the laws that they're claiming Don Lemon committed, it's not even fitting to what he was doing. They claimed that he was conspiring to stop people from exercising their rights, and he wasn't even organizing. He was just documenting things that was already happening, and as far as independence, like we see Don Lemon, he's on YouTube now. Okay, he has his own podcast. But we know that he is a decorated journalist. Just because he doesn't work for CNN, that doesn't take away from his legacy and his credits, He is press. He's always going to be recognized as press, especially when it comes to him documenting something. So, what's your point about the independent, like say for instance, if I was a YouTuber and I said, I want to go out and I want to cover something too. Well, we all have a right to record with our phones, right?
Right. So the question ends up being, because this is a trend that's starting to happen now, and we've spoken about this on other episodes, where YouTube influencers are showing up in people's communities and they're essentially asking questions. In some cases, maybe they actually are trying to understand if there's fraud taking place in the community. In other cases, they're going and they're trying to create a narrative that may not necessarily be there, but they're trying to force that particular narrative and hope that other people agree with that narrative that they're giving off. So there is a weird line taking place right now with YouTube influencers, all trying to figure out how to be the next Nick Shelby.
With that, creating narratives and things like that, I mean, that's a very fine line when it comes to ethics and when it comes to, real journalism. Okay, there's journalism and then there's what's called new media. And new media, to me, that's where that fine line comes in, because when there's a journalistic situation happening, okay, one can say, oh yeah, they're trying to sway or persuade the viewers based on things that they say, but creating a narrative out of things that aren't even there is where that fine line comes into play. And I think that there's a level of ethical standard that should always take place, and that's why I think the difference between the two will always be defined as you are a YouTuber versus they are a journalist. You know what I mean?
So let's
because the approach is totally different, and I think it's dangerous.
Let's dig into this. So we've got Tyler Oliveira, we have Nick Shelby, and we have Don Lemon. Are they all on the exact same plane?
What do you think?
I mean, I would say that Nick Shelby is potentially doing the job of Don Lemon, in the fact of he's just trying to gather information, if we're going on that boat. Okay. But Tyler is creating his own narrative. He is trying to create a particular explanation that is more about vilifying a community versus actually trying to get answers as a journalist who's doing investigative journalism.
Right. And see, that's the dangerous fine line, because even when we saw Don Lemon inside of the church, he was interviewing people and they were giving their perspective, not so much his perspective. Right. So there's no narrative to try to create, because he could have interviewed 5 people and 5 people could have given 5 different perspectives. Right. But so it's not like he had people prepared. Nick Shelby
allows that. That's the thing. Nick Shelby, who has even been brought into Congress to testify about what his discoveries have been. Like, that's where it gets interesting. So now you go and you add Don Lemon into all of this. And then the question ends up being, okay, where exactly... So if you're a YouTube influencer, or you're someone like us that are going in there doing a podcast, or however you want to put it, where exactly is the line? Are we only allowed to be outside the church? Or are we allowed as press to walk into a private building and go and talk to the person who's the leader of that particular ministry, even though that ministry person is worried about their congregants and doesn't have time for a microphone being put into their face?
Okay, and let's take it. Let's add another scenario. What about January 6th?
Exactly.
What if cameras were not allowed inside? Because here's where it starts to get tricky. If reporters start hesitating, or there being there's a level of fear in recording or covering news, then narratives will really be created, because we, the viewers, won't be able to see the truth of what's really happening, because somebody else would have to just come out and give us the view. I mean, the world is already a stage. We're already being told what is, and what we're already told what we see is not what we're really seeing. So imagine if it was a situation where the cameras they just stopped showing up. They stopped filming because reporters stopped filming. They didn't want to turn their cameras on because for fear of being sued or for fear of being jailed, then that's where the freedom of press just goes away. It just literally erodes.
Right. Let's go to January 6th. That is a great example. And that's kind of right on topic of everything in that, okay, you see what's going on in January 6th. You are a YouTube influencer.
Mm-hmm.
You decide to go in and to record. Can you be arrested for essentially recording history while a crime is being committed, even though you're a journalist? Like, this is where everybody's wondering.
You might because you don't have any credentials. You don't have press passes. You don't have anything. You're just walking in with your phone, So, and you're saying you're a journalist, but, a journalist from where? Who are you working for? Oh, I'm working for myself. That might not fly, especially in a case like January 6th.
They go and they ask who you're working for. He says, I'm working for Nick Shelby. That's his answer.
Yeah.
If anybody asks who he's working for. So essentially, the question then becomes do these journalists who happen on a story need to have press passes already made so that way they are wearing something that says the word press, even though they're capturing whatever's going on, and thus, in that case, it can be used in such a way where it's like, no matter what happens, they are not going to be arrested because they have declared themselves press, even if they've technically are trespassing.
Yeah, because what is the standard? Who is going to declare someone as press outside of them saying, I'm press and I create my own press passes? I mean, people would get creative quickly in order to, have a level of access. So,
how
I don't know.
large of an audience do you need to be able
to be considered, right?
That's what Don Lemon's arrest is causing in the tech world as far as conversations is considered, where they're all wondering, okay, now Don's got arrested. Don has X amount of millions of followers. Obviously, then that is not enough to be press. So how much is enough to be press? Do you need to have the amount that MSNBC and CNBC and CNN and all these other people have to have? Like, what is the qualifications of being press in the United States?
That's interesting. I wonder if we can even see anything like that. I don't know. Like, what qualifies you as press? What currently qualifies a person as press? Because it's definitely changing, because new media has been allowed in some of the same exact circles as what's considered press, right?
Yeah.
What considers... I'm
Well,
trying to look it up quickly. Because I'm just interested. What is that, right?
This is why on Logging In we go deeper into these topics of just like everybody's talking about Don Lemon, but no one's talking about what this means for the tech universe and the tech world.
Right. What are they saying in the tech world?
Well, they're saying what I'm discussing right now, which is just like if someone like Don Lemon can be arrested for being a journalist, then what are the qualifications for journalism, and where are you allowed and not allowed to be when it comes to journalistic integrity?
Yeah. So even if you just do a Google search, right? So the key distinctions definitely is press aims to be neutral. Okay, they want to be objective. Right. And if you can look at some news stations, you can tell who's neutral, who's objective, and who's not. Right.
Yep.
So if we look at CNN, we can look at Fox. We automatically know, what side of the coin each station network lies on or falls on. Another thing that they list is transparency. Journalists, they're supposed to adhere to a strict ethical code type of approach.
Right.
And then they have a level of credibility. They do a lot of fact checking. And what I see, and okay, and here's a big difference too with a lot of these YouTubers. They use the word allegedly a lot. That word is so overly saturated, right? Because they believe if they say the word allegedly, that will, help them avoid any type of lawsuits or things like that being brought against them. But you can tell things are not fact checked as well. So you just gotta, I don't know where the line draws, but I know for me, I can tell where I can tell what I would call traditional journalism from new media type journalism. I can tell. Because I know I can tell what I'm listening to. I can listen to the keywords and I can just listen to the approach, right?
Exactly.
So, but I don't know where I don't know. The lines are blurred at this point.
Yeah. So at this point, this is probably a good time to transition to hear what story you've brought to the table today.
Well, I want to talk about something that happened at the Grammys. I want to talk about Trevor Noah and how Trump decided to throw out a threat that he's going to sue Trevor Noah because he didn't like a joke that was told. So this was the final year hosting the Grammys, okay, after 6 years for Trevor Noah hosting the Grammys, right?
Yeah.
We all know that this is also the last year that it was going to air on CBS. And he didn't really keep things sentimental. He made it light. He added light political humor. Okay. And he also made a joke about Nicki Minaj, who wasn't there. And when he pointed out that she wasn't in the building, he also gave a Trump style impression. So I want to play the audio so you and the viewers can have a clear understanding of what I'm talking about. So let me get this set up here.
Yeah, let's kind of hear that
see.
because I didn't honestly see anything with the Grammys, so I'm curious myself.
Okay, so I'm going to play 2 clips, okay? And it's just short clips, okay? So hold on one moment, okay? Get these together.
I guess we have a special guest while we're waiting for the clip to come together. That just joined us.
Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nicki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nicki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby. Nicki Minaj is...
All right, so that's one. Okay, so that was him competing. That was him impersonating Trump, competing with Nicki Minaj because, Trump, he competes with everybody. And then here's another one. This is the one that Trump said he was going to sue about.
Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland. Which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it? Song?
All right, so you heard it. He said, what are you going to do about it? Right? Did you hear that? Was it clear enough for you? Did you hear both
Yeah, it was
clips?
clear enough, of course.
Yeah. So, of course, Trump didn't like that. First of all, the audience was a little too excited. There was a little too much humor, a little too much clapping, for his liking. So he said he was going to sue him. So he posted on Truth Social and on Twitter, he posted, Noah, a poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC. He said he's going to have some fun with Noah and would instruct lawyers who will be suing him for plenty. Okay. He said Noah said incorrectly about me that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on Epstein Island. He said, wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I have never been to Epstein Island nor anywhere close. And until tonight's false and defamatory statement, have never been accused of being there, not even by the fake news media. Noah, a total loser, better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. Meanwhile, Noah, he was just shedding light to, the humor on the reality and this whole weirdness that we've kind of been living in. And how delusional, didn't I just say that they try to make us believe that what we hear and what we see is not what we hear and what we see? How can he put out a note and state that he's never been accused of being anywhere near Epstein Island? That's all we've been hearing about. That's all the whole release the files have been about, right? And the files have been released. His name is in the most recent release of the files over like 30 times, and it's just who's delusional, him or us with our own eyes and ears. Now, Trevor Noah didn't accuse him of being on the island. What he did say, though, in regards to him wanting Greenland, I mean, it's no secret. He wants Greenland. We all know that, right? As far as him making that joke about, create another island that him and Clinton can hang out on. Okay. That's still not directly accusing him of hanging out on Epstein Island. So I don't really know how much of a case that Trump has in regards to saying he's going to sue him, because my thing is, how come you're not suing SNL? They've been joking about, Trump and the administration for years.
Yeah.
See, and I don't know if they're just protected under the satire, but what's different about Trevor Noah? So I really don't know how far this is going to go, but I thought it was interesting that, he's already suing the IRS. Now he wants to sue, Trevor Noah over the joke. And I think more than it's the joke, I think, he's humiliated because, it was in a room full of celebrities. All these things have been said out loud anyway. But again, he was in the room full of celebrities, and this is a show that was viewed by millions of people. So, yeah. I don't know. Did you hear about that though?
No.
That he was going to sue Trevor Noah?
You're bringing this to light. I wasn't actually aware about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, there was a lot, going on. Even the singer Billie Eilish, when she accepted her award, she said, this is already stolen land. Like, who are you prosecuting? And this is already stolen land. You're trying to, send people to jail, and this is already stolen land. So what are you doing? So a lot of people had a lot of comments in regards to the administration and what's currently going on. And nobody was holding back. So it was really something to see. It was really something to see. And even more so, how the room was erupting. It wasn't like people were laughing discreetly, like they were scared. People were laughing, they were clapping. So it was a very interesting show, especially for it to be its last show airing on CBS. So
and where's it going?
Yeah.
Now that it's not on CBS.
I think it's going to stream. I think they're going to be looking for a stream going forward, just like the Oscars. In 2029, I believe the Oscars will no longer air on broadcast television either. They're going to stream as well. So I think that's highly, highly interesting. Yes, the Oscars no longer airing on broadcast television, going to stream. That's crazy. That's crazy.
If that's what's happening, then essentially that goes into everything we talked about at the top of this whole session, which is just the world is going in a very different direction, where journalism is going online, award shows are going online. We're watching an entire renaissance happening right now.
Yeah. It's like I don't know what to expect. But yeah, when I seen that and the Oscars will no longer air, I said, wait a minute, something is happening. And then now the Grammys are no longer going to air on CBS News after 54 years. So at the end of the show, I was wondering, because I caught it at the end and then they did a repeat right after it aired the first time they replayed it. And I caught it at the end and I said, why are they doing like a whole montage of all of the Grammys? Like, why are they going so far back? Like, what's happening? And I was like, oh, snap, this is the last one on broadcast television. That's crazy. So
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, things Things are changing a lot. What do you got though? What else you got on your list you want to talk about?
Yeah, so what I'm just like looking at is that like, I mean, I guess this is kind of familiar with the Grammys because it's near the area, but the city of Los Angeles, they actually voted to ban single-use printer cartridges.
What is that about?
Yeah, so essentially, when you have a printer, you have cartridges that you can purchase for the printer. So essentially, they don't want people going and buying just black ink or just red ink or just those sort of things. They want there to be a cartridge that you're not creating all this extra waste, essentially.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
And it was unanimous.
What they want people So they want people to buy printer cartridges that are multicolor or not at all?
No, they want you to buy cartridges that can be refilled or properly recycled.
Oh. Refilled. And what?
Exactly, because they're creating a zero waste initiative.
So where are these printer cartridges supposed to be refilled?
Well, according to this particular law, if it happens to be within the city limits.
Really?
Yeah.
And okay. When is that supposed to go into effect?
That basically is going into effect on January 30. Well, no, they said January 30th is when they had the actual ruling, but I'm looking right now to see what's going on. I don't know. But essentially,
Wow.
what the real meaning of this is, cheap printers are not going to be available in that Los Angeles area, and technically is going to be considered illegal.
I was just getting ready to ask. So, what is going to be the impact to the customer? Because we see you already mentioned, what the initiative according to the state, zero waste and things like that. What's the impact to the customer? How is it going to hit their pockets? Because everything comes back to the pockets for the for the customer.
Right. I mean, like
how's it
HP,
going to hit
for
their
example,
wallets?
They famously went and they mentioned that users who use non-HP ink cartridges is considered technically a bad investment.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, because HP is trying to force the hand. But that means that I believe there's going to be an increase of demand for Epstein eco-tank style systems, where essentially you have the ink in a bottle and then you fill the ink directly into the printer itself.
Oh, wow.
Because that's currently available if you have an Epson EcoTank.
So you're at the house like playing arts and crafts. I mean, what if you have multicolor?
Right, so
you're pouring a bunch of different color inks into your printer?
So you have your black ink in this giant tube, and you basically pour that ink into the printer. So essentially, there's never a cartridge that you throw out, with the exception of the bottle that you would recycle at, let's say, like a Staples or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
It's creating an entire different world when it comes to the general printer elements. So we got like 3 minutes left. Is there like one more quick story you want to throw out there?
Hot off the press, Bill and Hillary Clinton have agreed to testify in regards to the Epstein investigation.
Really?
Yeah, they were pretty hesitant, but what raised eyebrows about, why is because just last month they refused to comply. They did not want to comply with the subpoenas from the committee. But this week, Congress told them that they will be held in contempt as of this week. And as it got closer to this week, they went on ahead and changed their course. Okay. They said that they will go ahead and they agreed to testify. So according to the spokesperson for Bill Clinton, he said that they're looking forward to setting a precedent that applies to everyone. So I don't know, more to come on that, because to date, even though they said that they will testify, they haven't laid out any terms, and we don't have any dates as far as when. Now, they've said for a long time they had no knowledge of Epstein crimes, but they also argued that the subpoenas themselves were invalid. And it's just interesting how everybody has no knowledge of these crimes, but they're all in the pictures. I don't know. Again, I don't know.
It's the who's who of the tech world is in this Epstein file.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, you've got the CEO of Google. I mean, the co-founders of Google. You've got the founder of Facebook/Meta. You've got all these bigwigs. It's crazy when you think about it.
Ooh, you know what? Let's pick that up for the next show when we log in next time.
All right.
And see who we can find from the tech world who's a part of this.
All right. So we're going to log off.
Yeah.
We'll have more stories next episode. It's great having you up from the water cooler, and we'll just see everybody next time.
Yeah. All right. I'm logging off now.
All right. Logging off. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Today, Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain still lag. Callie's logging, Techie's tab. We're logging in with Callie and Techie. Callie bringing culture, Techie talks, Techie stories, culture, updates too. It's logging in, brought to you. Ready, slightly unstable. You're logging in, 404, boredom not found. You're logging in, best show round. Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay.